Raise a glass, come take a seat. Fill the house with noise and heat. 10 years gone and here we are, celebrating who they are. Stories rising, laughter loud, friends and family in the crowd. Every year another thread in the life these two have led. 10 years ago we had a key to a room we could barely pay. 2 old chairs and borrowed hope, trying to find our way. Every morning side by side, learning as we went. Every year a promise made without a document. 10 years turning day by day into something real. Quiet dinners, late night talks, learning how to feel. No parade for what we built, no paper and no seal. But every year is written proof of something strong as steel. 10 years together through every kind of weather, through every hope we dared to plan. 10 years together and maybe even better than either one of us began. Raise a glass to what is true, love that time cannot undo. 10 years written in the stars, even if the law says otherwise. Someone tells the college tale, how the whole thing first began. 2 young students passing by, never knowing what they'd planned. Another laughs about the car that died out on the road. Somehow every broken thing just lightened up the load. I have watched my son grow strong through every passing year. Life has taken him along a road not always clear. But anyone who stands beside a heart through joy and fear must care for him in ways a mother recognizes here. So tonight I raise my glass and hope that time will show that love can find its rightful place in ways we do not know. 10 years together through every kind of weather, through every hope we dared to plan. 10 years together and maybe even better than either one of us began. Raise a glass to what is true, love that time cannot undo. 10 years written in the stars, even if the law says otherwise. Funny how a decade passes before you stop and see. Funny how the world still wonders who we're allowed to be. 10 years might be something small, or maybe something grand. If we made it through the first, I think we've got a chance. 10 years together through every kind of weather, through every road we had to climb. 10 years together and maybe even better with every turning page of time. Raise a glass to love tonight, to the courage of its light. 10 years written in the stars, and maybe 20 more to go. Morning light across the floor, empty glasses from before, quiet house and coffee steam left behind from last night's dream. 10 years gone and here we stand, still the same uncertain plan. Just a life we slowly made in the quiet, ordinary shade. Every morning looks the same, no parade and no acclaim, just the dishes, just the day, bills to pay and work to stay. But the small things always last, long after the noise has passed. Every quiet thing we do builds a life for me and you. Ordinary days together, morning light and simple weather. Nothing written, nothing signed, still alive we've slowly designed. Ordinary days unfolding, small and steady, quiet and holding. Every moment passing through, building something strong and true. No one sees the lives we grow, no one marks the things we know. Just a door we close each night, just a lamp and kitchen light. Still the world beyond our street doesn't know the life we keep. But inside these simple walls, something real is standing tall. Maybe history moves slow, maybe change will never show. Maybe this is all we claim, just a love without a name. Still I wouldn't trade these years, all the laughter, all the tears. Every morning waking near, knowing you are always here. No headlines will tell this story, no one writes these moments down. But the life we build together is the truest thing we found. Ordinary days together, through the calm and stormy weather. Nothing written, nothing signed, still alive we've slowly designed. Ordinary days keep growing, quiet seeds the world's not knowing. Every moment passing through, building something strong and true. They said a court up in Boston is hearing something new, some case about a marriage law and what it means to you. Most folks say it's nothing, just another losing fight. But something in the way they spoke made it feel not quite. I've learned not to expect too much from laws or promises. Dreams can disappear real fast when the world says no to this. Still I keep on thinking about a place I'd never seen, where two names on a single line might actually mean. Somewhere it's possible, somewhere the door could open wide, somewhere a quiet promise might finally stand aside, somewhere the word forever could mean what lovers say, somewhere a simple truth might finally find its way. Maybe it's a long road, maybe it will disappear, maybe by tomorrow no one even hears. night, the thought remains like a light across the sea. If the world can change somewhere, what might that mean for me? I'm not asking for a miracle or a story in the news, just a place where love is written in the language others use. Somewhere it's possible, somewhere a light could shift tonight, somewhere two lives together like fiery sand and light, somewhere the door could open even if it's far away. And maybe if it happens now, it might come here someday. Did you hear what Boston said? Something in the law has changed. Judges say the line was wrong, marriage cannot be contained. Some are cheering in the streets, some are staring at the screen. No one quite believes the words, no one's sure what this will mean. A court in Massachusetts says the law has gone too far. Two people standing side by side can marry as they are. Licenses and courthouse lines, people waiting in the rain. For the first time in this country, two men sign the same. Something just changed, something just moved, and door that never opened has suddenly been proved. To people who were waiting, now sign it hands by hand. One voice calls it history, another calls it wrong. One says this will never stand, one says it took too long. But somewhere in a courthouse hall, two people speak a vow, and the whole wine country wonders what happens now. Something just changed, something just moved, a door that never opened has suddenly been through. Someone in the land, two people who were waiting, now sign their names by man. If it can happen there, if one line can move, if one small court can say the word, the law once disapproved, then maybe history is not as locked as we believe. Maybe one small opening is all the world will need. They say the courthouse lines are forming, people waiting through the rain, couples flying in from everywhere just to write their names. They say the doors are open now for anyone who dares. 2 tickets and a weekend trip, and suddenly we're there. And when we land back here again, what changes when we land? The same old laws still waiting, exactly where they stand. A promise signed in Boston is just a story here, a line the state will never read or even let appear. If we went, would it matter if we stood and said the vow? If we went, would it change the way we're living now? Would the world feel any different? Would the ground feel new somehow? Or would it just be something that means nothing here and now? Maybe it's a small thing, maybe just a word, but every promise ever made was once a sound unheard. And somewhere someone has to start, somewhere someone tries. Maybe one small step today is how tomorrow arrives. I'm not afraid of loving you or standing by your side, but hope can break a heart in two when promises collide. I've learned to build a quieter life without the law involved. Sometimes the safest answer is leaving dreams unsolved. Maybe it's a symbol, maybe it's a symbol, maybe it's a fragile thing, maybe it's a fragile thing. Carry in your heart, carry in your heart. Maybe it's a question neither one can prove. What happens to a promise when the world refuses you? If we went, would it matter? Would it stand or fade away? If we went, would it change the way we live today? Still the thought keeps drifting like a road we never knew. What would happen if we went? Just me and you. Turn the channel, hear the voices. Every station has a view. Every city, every headline says the country's splitting in two. Courts and churches, pickets forming. Every town begins to speak. Something started up in Boston. Now the whole map starts to shake. One state says it's sacred law, one says let them be, one says marriage must remain the way it used to be. One state writes another ban, one state draws a line, one state says the court was wrong and justice crossed the line. Across the state, across the land, the argument is rising. Across the states, across the towns, the fault lines are surprising. Every voice, every claim, every speech and declaration. Across the state, across the land, a brand new conversation. Talk shows rage through midnight hour. Preachers take a stand. Politicians promise votes and wave a shaking hand. Students marching through the streets, lawyers writing briefs. Every corner of the country starts to voice belief. across the state, across the land. The argument keeps growing, across the state, across the towns. The restless currents flowing, every court, every hall, every pulpit and station, across the state, across the land, a country in rotation. Some say stop it now, some say let it rise, some say history is turning right before our eyes. Some say hold the line, some say let it fall, but something has awakened. It's echoing through all, across the state, across the land. The argument is flying, across the state, across the towns. No one's quiet or complying. Every voice, every claim, every hope and hesitation, across the state, across the land, a changing conversation. Did you see the morning news? California changed the rules. Courts have spoken, lines erased. Marriage standing face to face. Phones are ringing everywhere. People staring in the air. Something bigger than before just walked through another door. I remember what I said. Maybe hope was just a dream, just a whisper far away, just a far-off illegal scheme. But tonight the map looks different. Something's shifting in the sky. When a state that large can change, you begin to wonder why. Maybe it's happening. Maybe the walls are falling down. Maybe it's happening. Maybe the world is turning around. Every door that opens wide lets another future through. Maybe it's happening. Maybe the promise might come true. Lines outside the courthouse doors, people waiting hand in hand. Some are crying, some are laughing, some can barely stand. Reporters shouting through the crowd, cameras flashing bright. Every promise ever whispered, it's standing there in light. Maybe it's happening. Maybe the walls are falling down. Maybe it's happening. Maybe the world is turning around. Every door that opens wide lets another future through. Maybe it's happening. Maybe the promise might come I know tomorrow someone somewhere will try to pull the moment down. But tonight I see it go away, where before there was just around. Maybe it's happening. Maybe the tide has finally turned. Maybe it's happening. Maybe the lesson has been learned. Every promise a love denied, standing now in open view. Maybe it's happening. Maybe the promise might come They said the votes were counted. They said the lines were clear. They said the law was changing, but something else is here. Headlines headlines turn by morning, crowds begin to cry. Promises from yesterday are suddenly denied. Courthouse doors are quiet now, the lines have disappeared. The voices that were laughing stand frozen, stunned, and cleared. Some still hold the papers with names they signed in light, but someone somewhere voted to take away the right. Taken away, taken away. A promise written yesterday is taken away. Taken away, taken away. A door that just swung open is taken away. The numbers climb, the verdict falls, the celebration fades. What opened like a promise once is quietly erased. But somewhere two hands tremble, holding what remains, a vow that still exists, even if the law restrains. Taken away, taken away. Yesterday's taken away. Taken away, taken away. A door that just swung open is taken away. Hope can rise in one bright moment, hope can vanish just as fast. What the world begins with courage, fear can try to take at last. Taken away, taken away. Someone glimpse one day is taken away. Taken away, taken away. Somewhere in the silence, the promise slips away. Year by year, the headlines turn. Quiet shifts the country learns. Lines that once were set in stone start to stand a little alone. Courts are meeting, briefs are filed. Arguments grow fierce and wild. But somewhere on a courthouse wall, another ruling starts to call. One more state begins to move, one more court begins to prove something written long ago is carved as deep as stone. People watching evening news, trying hard to read the clues. Every judgment, every page moves the borders of the stage. From that changes, slowly rearranging. One more state begins to see something others couldn't be. The map changes, quietly exchanging. Lines that once were locked in place now begin to shift their space. Lawyers arguing the past, judges asking if it lasts. Every answer leaves a mark, lighting up another spark. Families watching from afar, wondering how close they are. Every ruling, every claim moves another piece of frame. The map changes, slowly rearranging. One more door begins to rise, somewhere under different skies. The map changes quietly. It's changing. What was once impossible now becomes discussable. Years go by and still the fight turns through shadow into light. Some resist, steps, some agree. History moves carefully. The map changes, slowly rearranging. One more state begins to say, love belongs in the law today. The map changes quietly, exchanging what the country once denied now stands slowly justified.
Years have crossed this room, marks along the kitchen wall. Every chair and every door knows the stories of us all. Every night and every dawn, every ordinary year, all the time that carried us quietly has brought us here. 20 years of passing days, stacked like pages on a shelf. Little moments no one sees, slowly writing life itself. Every habit that we share, every silence understood, turns the simple shape of time into something strong and good. 20 years together, more than either planned. 20 years of living, hand beside a hand. Every quiet season, every turn in view. 20 years of living life with you. Photographs in fading frames, trips and birthdays long ago. Every mile and every town, leaving traces as we go. People come and people leave, cities change and years depart, but the road we chose to walk still runs steady through my heart. Maybe laws will never learn what the passing years can prove. Maybe history takes its time understanding how we move. Still tonight I look around at the life these years have grown, and I know the world may doubt, but I've never walked alone. Time is quiet when it's passing, almost silent day by day. Then you turn and see a lifetime standing calmly in your way. 20 years together, through the They took him through those double doors and asked me just to wait. A plastic chair, a humming light, a clock that will not hesitate. 20 years beside his life, every step and every year. Yet when they called for family, they said I stay out here. I told them who you were to him, I told them what I know. But rules are written somewhere else, and rules decide where we can go. A mother signs the papers now because the law says so. Yet every word they spoke to me is something you should know. You should be there, standing by his side. You should be there, not waiting here outside. All these years beside his life, every mile we knew. You should be there, the way he'd be for you. I never asked the world to see what we have always known. Just morning shared and quiet nights, a life that we have grown. But suddenly the smallest rule becomes a wall of stone, and all the years that built our life leave me standing here alone. I thought that love was simple once, a rule you understood. But watching you sit quietly here has changed what once seemed good. If faith is meant to shelter us and guard the ones we love, then how can anyone say you're not the one he's thinking of? Years can build a life together, years can prove what words deny. But tonight the law has drawn a line neither one of us can cross. So no, you should be there, standing by his side. You should be there, not waiting here outside. 20 years beside his life, every mile we knew. You should be there, the way he'd be for you. I believed the world was simple, lines were written clear and strong. Certain truths were handed down, right and left and right and wrong. I believed the rules were there, guarding what was meant to be. But the night inside that waiting room showed a different truth to me. 20 years of life together, standing right before my eyes. Yet a law could turn that history into something it denies. Every mile they walked as one, every promise that they grew. Suddenly the world declared none of it was true. What I thought I knew feels different now. What I thought was certain I can't say somehow. If love is meant to shelter
Why should any rule decide who stands there by your side? I raised a son to live with care, to stand for what is right. Yet I watch the law deny him even in his hour of fright. And the man who never left him through the turning of the years sat alone beyond a door, holding back his fears. Maybe truth is something living, maybe hearts can grow and see. Maybe faith is not a boundary, but a deeper mercy. What I thought I knew has changed somehow. The quiet life they built together is clearer to me now. If love is meant to shelter us, if faith is meant to guide, then no law should ever choose who stands there by your side. Nine black robes behind a bench, 9 voices soon to speak. Years of arguments and hope rising to their peak. Every brief and every claim, every voice that cried, now arrives before a room where history will decide. Lawyers standing at the rail, careful words arranged, every sentence measured out, what must stay or change. Years of lives behind the case, stories rarely told, waiting for a single line, written clear and bold. In the highest court, in the highest court, in the quiet room, in the quiet room, years of waiting find their moment soon. In the highest court, voices rise and plead what the law once denied, now the law must read. People gather on the steps, watching through the day. Some are praying justice hold, some are begging stay. Across the country screens are lit, living rooms grow still. Everyone is listening for 9 voices on a hill. In the highest court, in the highest court, in the quiet room, in the quiet room, years of waiting find their moment soon. In the highest Now the law must reign.
Breaks across the screens, words appear, the nation reads. A quiet sentence on the page unlocks a million needs. Years of voices, years of cries, years of standing strong. Suddenly a single line says the law was wrong. Courthouse steps are filling fast. No one wants to leave. Some are laughing through their tears, trying to believe. Across the country, voices rise from city streets to plains. The promise people carried along is written clear today. After the long wait, after the long years, after the quiet courage, after the doubts and fears, after the long wait, the answer fills the air. Love that stood in shadow is standing everywhere. Every state beneath the sky now must read the line. Two people standing side by side, no law can now decline. All the doors that once were closed open one by one, and somewhere two lives finally see what all the years have done. After the long wait, after the long years, after the quiet courage, after the doubts and fears, after the long wait, the answer fills the air. Love that stood in shadow is standing everywhere. History moves slowly until the moment comes. Then the years of waiting become the sound of drums. Voices once divided now rise in harmony. What was only hope before is now what all can see. After the long wait, after the long years, after the quiet courage, after the doubts and fears, after the long wait, the country lifts its voice. Love that stood in shadow now stands by law and choice. After the long wait, the silence disappears. Love that waited patiently is finally standing here. crowded rooms before and watched the years go by. Every promise quietly made beneath an uncertain sky. Morning after morning came, night after night the same, building something steady no law would ever name. We heard the voices rising from every screen and stage, courts and states and headlines turning page by page. But through every turning year, through every doubt and scar, the life we made together was already what we are. Now the day has come, now the line is clear. What we always knew finally stands right here. No more waiting, no more standing far. What we built together finally is ours. All the quiet years behind us, all the roads we knew, every small and ordinary day that carried me to you. Not in courts or papers, not in laws or claims, but in every life we built, we wrote each other's names. Now the world can witness what our hearts already knew. A promise spoken openly, the way it always grew. And every mile that led us here, every unseen scar, brought us to this moment where the future starts. Time was always patient, even when we feared. Every year of waiting quietly brought us here. Now the day has come, now the